Hello, my loves. I'm Paula Renova, founder of Renova and creatrix of the Cardinal Method of Life Connection, which is a crystal consciousness modality designed to heal your soul and for the joy of life to be a result of that. And the key and the tools that we use are crystals and consciousness expansion. So today we're going to talk about relationships, more specifically romantic relationships, more specifically triangular relationships, which is a very delicate subject, right? So in my own life experience and from the theory of mystery schools, and when you think about spiritual contracts and what's the meaning behind romantic relationships, there's a lot to say, a lot of ground to cover. I actually got a question when I recorded the video about the series Another Self, season 3. If you haven't seen it, it's here on YouTube. I'm going to put the link here for you. And I got a few questions about relationships because people were very moved by the way the relationships were resolved on a soul level without necessarily having to talk to the person or to clarify anything with an ex, right? But your unfinished love business, and this is the 4th chapter of my book, Your Cardinal Connections. If you don't have it, I will also link it here so you can grab it, so you can, get a copy and really dive in. Chapter 4 of that book is also about healing romantic relationships, because if you don't, they become an obstacle in your soul and they interfere in your future relationships or in present moment relationships. So unfinished love business is not something to ignore. I highly recommend we heal all our relationships so that we can really find peace within as individuals, but also with our present moment partners or future partners so that we have healthier relationships, right? So if you have been through the pain of betrayal in a sense of cheating, right? Triangular relationships, either you cheated on your significant other or you were the victim, and that's what we're going to really dive in, because there's no such thing as victimhood on a soul level when it comes to soul healing and self-responsibility. And I know this is not easy to hear, but stay with me and hear me out on this. If you've been through that pain, and I have not met anyone who has had a few decades on their lives that hasn't had that experience, but hopefully, it's going to shift as the planet changes consciousness. If you've been through that pain, this is the hard truth. And I'm going to bring in 2 crystals to help you with that. Celestite, which is about living in your truth. This is the to-go crystal to live in the truth of your life, regardless of what you're thinking or talking about, or what the dilemma is, or which area of life you need help and clarity with. Your truth, your personal truth. Live in your truth. In the Cardinal Method, Celestite is a throat chakra crystal. It's very soft. I actually have another one here that's bumped around. It wasn't mine. Someone else gave it to me, and that person did not take good care of it. I took very good care of mine. So never put Celestite, a very soft crystal, bundled up in a basket to be bumped around, because it's going to get hurt, right? You can see the difference here. But anyway, I digress. This is the to-go crystal. Obsidians, and this is gold sheen obsidian, also bring forth the truth, but they're pretty blunt and they can be really hardcore. So I don't recommend obsidians for everybody unless you are really versed in crystal consciousness and you really have walked the path, or you have a crystal expert with you, or you are a crystal expert yourself. This crystal is much safer. In a sense, it's softer and also it's kinder than obsidian. This is a very blunt crystal. But anyway, this is a benign crystal. Don't be scared of crystals, okay? They just have different ways of communicating the truth to you. So when it comes to knowing the truth and seeing the truth, if you were caught in a romantic relationship in which there was triangulation, either you or the person you were with were not over the ex or the prior relationships or relationships you had before, that can interfere. Or throughout the relationship, you are committed to somebody officially on the physical outer life level, and that person cheats on you or you cheat on that person. this is the catch. This is what I want you to pay attention to. This is where self-responsibility comes through. This is where your soul education really helps you understand the spiritual logic behind it. And that's why the Cardinal Method Constellation Wisdom course is really good for that understanding. Okay, I'm going to link it here as well for you. Even if you were not the villain, if you were not the aggressor, on a deep unconscious level, we have magnets that attract our outer life experiences. So if your official partner cheated on you, neither of you were taking care of the relationship on a soul level, and I'll explain why and how. Think about a threefold entity. You, your partner, and the relationship. The relationship is an individual. The relationship is an entity on itself. There's a book called Alchemy of Love Relationships by Dr. Michael Levi, and I hope I'm not butchering his name. And that book explains this beautifully, okay? So if you and your significant other are not taking care of the relationship as if it were a child, you know, mother, father, child, that's also a 3. If you think about the tarot, you have the magician as the masculine principle, the high priestess as the feminine principle, and then when you have number 3, which is the empress, it is the manifestation of a relationship. 3 is by definition a relationship. And both are ideally supposed to take care of that relationship. If we don't, for some reason, and that's where we are really called in by our higher selves to look at our truths and say, am I really honoring this relationship? Or am I in this relationship because I feel incapable of being alone, because I'm needy, because I need to tell myself or society that I am not a single person, because there are a lot of taboos about being single, or were in our culture, right? All of that needs to be asked on an honest self-transformation process or self-knowledge process, which precedes self-transformation. So the answer to this question is, if I am betrayed or cheated on by my romantic partner, am I also responsible for that to happen, for that not to happen, for that thing that happened? The answer is yes. Unfortunately, we were not fully engaged in that relationship. There were aspects of the relationship that were not aligned with the truth. Because if the villain, the person who actually took initiative to have an affair, did that, that person is mirroring something in your own soul. Not that you wanted to cheat, but that you were not happy in the relationship. Is that making sense? And cheating is just an escape mechanism. It doesn't have any strength of its own, okay? Some people are going to say, oh no, but I wasn't in love with my official partner. I was in love with my lover. Are you willing to have a healthy, happy relationship with the lover? Or was that just a tool to get you out of a relationship you are not happy with? And if that's the thing, that is the law of mirrors. That is the hardcore truth that a lot of people don't like hearing and often take it personally. And then whoever is the messenger that gives the message can sometimes be hated, right? Therapists, coaches, shamans, myself here in this video, right? If you're the one who actually verbalizes the truth, you may be hated by the person who doesn't want to admit that he or she was not very satisfied. Okay, I understand. The best way to solve a relationship problem is definitely not having an affair. But if it happens in your life, if it happened in your lifetime, and that's the question that a lot of people ask, and I've asked myself as well, am I a total victim, or did I really want to shift something in my relationship and did not even see what was going on? Or maybe I saw it, but I didn't have the guts to put an end to it, or to admit there was a crisis and try to find solutions within the relationship. Or even on a deeper level, Was I brave enough or not to know and admit my truth? Did I want to be in that relationship in the first place? Was it something real in the beginning and then it suddenly shifted and it wasn't real anymore? It can happen. Or was it a lie from the very beginning? It can happen too. I've been through it all, to be honest. At this point in my life, I'm 48 years old. I've been through 3 divorces and have had some significant relationships that did not go well. I'm not saying I gave up on relationships, but I have had enough of an experience. I've traveled enough of a romantic path to say this with enough clarity, right? Did you start the relationship because you felt needy or incapable or autopilot or whatever? Or did you start the relationship one-sided and you knew that that other person wasn't committed but you forced it anyway? Or were you really both very committed, but life changes, life is all about change, and the relationship lasted beautifully for a period of time and change, and it wasn't supposed to be a relationship anymore? And it takes courage, it takes guts to admit the truth. So ask yourself these questions, and do watch Another Self. That series really is very powerful about soul education. And if you want to dive even deeper, I have the courses and I have individual sessions and I have memberships that you can also join to know yourself, transform yourself, and live in the truth, which for sure brings peace and the joy of life to you in the long run. It's not about building sandcastles. It's not about a magic wand that suddenly changes your life. It's about a solid structure that you build for yourself from within. And it will eventually, and often very fast, because crystals are catalyzers of energy, so they make things faster, not in a rushed way, but just in a more efficient way. And then your life will be very beautiful the more you create it from your higher self vibration. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon.